when I got to medical school, I thought, well, the least I ought to do is take a hypnosis course, so I did. And my first patient I was at Children's Hospital in Boston, and the nurse says, Spiegel, your patient has status asthmaticus, and she's in room 734 or something. And I followed the sound of the wheezing down the hall. In there is a pretty redhead 15-year-old girl, bolt upright in bed, knuckles white, struggling for breath. Her mother's standing there crying. The nurse is in the room, and I didn't know what else to do. They tried epinephrine twice under her skin, didn't work. They were considering general anesthesia. She'd been hospitalized every month for 3 months. They were going to put her on steroids. And I said, would you like to learn a breathing exercise? She nods. So I get her hypnotized. And then I start to sweat because I realized we hadn't gotten to asthma in the course yet. I'm a third-year medical student. What do I know? So I said something very clever and subtle. I said, each breath you take will be a little deeper and a little easier. And within 5 minutes, she's lying back in her bed. She's not wheezing anymore. Her mother stopped crying. The nurse ran out of the room. My intern comes looking for me, and I figure he's going to pat me on the back and say, what in the hell did you do? He said, the nurse has filed a complaint with the nursing supervisor that you violated Massachusetts law by hypnotizing a minor without parental consent. Now, Massachusetts has a lot of weird laws, but that's not on the list. In any event, her mother was standing right there next to me when I did it. And he said, well, you'll have to stop doing it. And I said, why? He said, it's dangerous. And this is the thing you see with hypnosis, Simon, that either they think it's ridiculous and a stage show trick, or it's really dangerous, And I said, well, you're going to give her general anesthesia and you think my talking to her is dangerous? I don't think so. Take me off the case if you want, but I'm not going to tell my patient something I know is not true. So he stomps out of the room and he goes and has a council of war with the chief resident and the attending physician and all that. And they came back on Monday and they said, they had a radical idea. They said, let's ask the patient. She said, oh, I like this. She had one subsequent hospitalization and went on to study to be a respiratory therapist. And I figured that anything that could help a patient that fast, that safely, violate a non-existent Massachusetts law had to be worth looking into. And that was the first of my 7,000 patients because I just saw it right there in front of me. And so it's sort of tapping into the ability people naturally have to make themselves better. But sometimes they don't do that. They make themselves worse. So teach them how to make things better rather than worse. And that's what I've been doing ever since.